What's going on, guys? This is Martyrs Brigade 99 coming to you once again with another session of Killzone Shadow Fall. Alright guys, it's been a few weeks. Right, holiday. Well, actually, before I start getting into that, I like to say happy holidays to each and every one out there. There was a few people who sent me happy holidays messages, but I wasn't really able to reply because I was out of town, or I had family over, or just kind of doing our own holidays thing. So now that I have an opportunity to let everyone know, right, I like to offer everyone a happy holidays, and may you have a good excuse me. Man, I'm still kind of sick. May you all experience a very good new year. All right, so thing with me, not only have we had the holidays, but it's like the plague went through my house, right? My oldest daughter, she ended up getting sick, right? Just before, well, actually right after school ended for the holidays. And then my little ones got sick. Then my wife got sick. And then I got it last. Right, so I was going through the whole chills and fever. My voice was out. I was sneezing. I was coughing. I mean, it was crazy. I had so many things to talk about during that time, but I just absolutely couldn't. Right, I didn't want to get on the commentary and do a lot of coughing or do a lot of holding on and stuff like that. So now that I feel a lot better, I'm ready to go ahead and dive back into the commentary. So a lot has changed since the 2 weeks. I think it's been 2 weeks. I know it hasn't been that long. I think it's been about 2 weeks. A lot has changed within the last 2 weeks. We have a lot more Killzone Shadow Fall players. Right, Christmas has passed, and with a lot of people who were able to buy the PS4s on the 15th of November, some of those were Christmas presents, right? So even though some of us were able to go ahead and unbox and go ahead and start playing at release, a lot of other people reserved those unboxings for Christmas. Right, and in addition to the Christmas release, we had a free multiplayer weekend. I believe it was on the 28th or the 29th, or the weekend of the 28th and 29th. And since then, oh my God, I had so many things to talk about during that time, but I just couldn't. One thing that I want to talk about in particular are these ridiculous Christmas noobs. Now, some of you guys, you may be saying to yourself, what in the world is a Christmas noob? First off, a Christmas noob is exactly what I just called it, right? Someone who just got the game for Christmas. They've inserted the disc, they're starting up the multiplayer, and they have no clue what they're doing. No clue at all. And I'm talking in particular with the war zones. Now, who really cares what you do in Team Deathmatch? As a matter of fact, the Christmas noobs are so bad that I've even read on the forums that some of the players are like, you know what? I'm just going to put the game down for, a couple weeks until these Christmas noobs at least get a little better, right? Because it is so frustrating losing games that you wouldn't ordinarily lose because you've been paired off with a whole bunch of Christmas noobs. And you can tell if they're Christmas noobs or not for the most part by just looking at the number of unlocks. Right, so for a lot of you guys that may not be familiar, or maybe if you're a Christmas noob yourself, next to your PSN there's a number, right? And the number details the amount of unlocks that you've opened. Right, I think I'm almost at 1100. Right, and there's a total of 1545. So it's to a degree is kind of an indicator. And actually, that kind of, before I start rambling on about the Christmas noobs, I think that's a good thing to talk about. The unlocks. There's a total of 1545 unlocks. Right, so for a lot of you guys that like multiplayer challenges, it gives you a lot to shoot for. Right, like I said, I'm somewhere around 1100. And to a point, by looking at someone's unlocks will give you an idea as to how much experience they have or what kind of player they are. Right, and this is what I mean. If you see someone under 200 unlocks, I'm willing to say either one or two things. Either it's an experienced player that has a different PSN, just like me myself, you know, just as within Dark Souls, I had Martyr's Brigade 99, and I also had the Martyr's Brigade with no 99. So my main Killzone Shadow Fall profile is Martyr's Brigade 99, right? And that's the profile wherein I have like 1,100 unlocks opened. Now, my secondary profile is just Martyr's Brigade, and that's it. No 99. And that profile, I think I have around 290 unlocks open. Right, and I kind of did that for several reasons. One profile was kind of practicing with the settings. You know, I didn't really want to mess around with getting a lot of deaths and all that on my main one, on my main PSN. So I just decided to go ahead and mess around with it on my secondary. Right. So the thing is, whenever you notice a player that has, I'll just say under 400 unlocks, I think it's pretty fair enough to say that that's a Christmas noob, right? Especially if you can tell that they have no clue what they're doing. They're not pursuing anything. And, I mean, you could just tell, especially on the war zones. And then you have a middle zone, right? And the middle zone is kind of hard to tell. The middle zone is somewhere around, I'll say around 500 to around 700. That's a middle ground that could really be misleading. And the reason why I say that middle ground can be misleading is because some people have a lot of experience, but they only play one class and they primarily only use one weapon, right? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that they play what's best for them and they stick with it. Case in point, there's a player that I know is super awesome with the minigun, right? T-King 67. Now, T-King 67, I think he has less than 700 unlocks opened, right? But he has a lot of experience. I play with T-King 67 all the time. And like almost every time I play with him, either he or myself are like top 1 and 2, like always. Like almost every single time that we play together. Like unless I'm like just kind of goofing off or messing around with a scout class or something like that, you can almost guarantee if he and I are on a team together, at worst case scenario we're going to be top 3, but most case best case scenario we're the top 2, and that's almost a guarantee. I'm not even trying to be arrogant, but it just is what it is. May it be classic, may it be the standard 24 man war zone, or may it even be the extended war zones. Almost every single time that T-King and I are on the team together, we're best case scenario top 1 and 2, worst case scenario just top 3, right? Maybe he's number 1 and I'm number 3, or maybe I'm number 1 and he's number 3, but either way it go, we're always the top 3. But he only has like 600, I think a little less than 700 unlocks, right? And it's mainly because he plays a lot of support and he uses the same weapon, right? Like I said before, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying how there's a middle ground that could be misleading, right? Like some of you may say, oh, he only has 600 out of 1,545. That guy's kind of a noob himself, right? He just basically brushed a little dust off the unlocks. No, not really, because he plays a lot. But I don't think he messed around with the scout class, which if he experiment with it, it would allow him to open some unlocks. Or I don't know if he experiments with the assault class, which messing around with different classes and getting more kills and more weapons and completing certain objectives will get you more unlocks with those classes. All right, so that middle ground you can't really say, but I will say that anything less than, let's just say 400, more than likely they're a noob. Now, the bad part about it is, which it can be discouraging, like I said before, when you're losing games that any other time you wouldn't lose. Case in point, whenever I play support, which is like 95% of the time, I'm not even trying to be funny, I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be right at the objective. 9 times out of 10. It doesn't matter if I'm the only support guy. Like, unless I'm experimenting with another class, like let's just say maybe a scout or assault. If I'm playing support class, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be right at the objective. And if we don't win, more than likely is because I'm on a team of Christmas noobs or just simply bad players, right? Because I submitted a posting on the forums, and my issue was, is it too much team deathmatch or is it Christmas noobs? And the reason why I say that is because I remember once I was on a Killzone Shadow Fall stream, and the guy, you know, all he was doing was playing team deathmatch, which, I mean, who really cares, right? I was just in the stream. I'm like, dude, why don't you try some war zones? And naturally, in the team deathmatch, all he was doing was running around in a circle and getting kills. So he said, well, I never really tried Warzone. So I'm like, well, you know, go ahead, give it a try. It's pretty fun. So he tried it, right? And he started to run the support class. And just as I thought, and actually, I couldn't even necessarily call him a Christmas noob, because he had like, I think somewhere around 500 unlocks, right? So I figured to myself, I'm like, okay, well, he's probably reasonably experienced. So he had around 500 unlocks. So once he played Warzone, that guy revived nobody. Like, all his team was just sitting there dying right in front of his eyes. He didn't revive anybody. He was too busy trying to get kills. That guy, like, followed no objectives. And I'm sitting there watching the screen, and I'm just burning with flames, because I'm thinking to myself, like, see, this is a perfect example of either a Christmas noob, for which I wouldn't even consider the guy a Christmas noob, because at the time I think it was like just before Christmas, and he had like somewhere around 500 unlocks open. So he wasn't a Christmas noob. In his particular case, it was too much team deathmatch. Because in team deathmatch, you're more likely to be selfish. You know, you can play selfishly. You don't have to worry about anybody else. As a matter of fact, if you're playing team deathmatch, I really don't even see a need to drop spawn beacons, honestly. Like, you could if you're just trying to base trap somebody and you just want to keep the team there so you can keep them trapped in their base, which if you get caught in your base, you're really a noob, because there's so many ways to get out. There's like no excuse. So that's the only thing that I can think of as far as spawn beacons. There's really no point, at least with war zones. Like, you have to be placed at an objective so that your team is more likely to win that objective. So I can understand with you know, war zones, but team deathmatch, I really don't see a need. So that guy dropped like 0 spawn beacons. He revived like none of his buddies, and he pursued like no objectives. It was kind of like wherever he saw a lot of opportunity to get kills, he just went to that area and he stayed there, just like either a Christmas noob or a team deathmatch noob, right? And I really wish I could get on a public microphone and tell all these idiots, listen guys, if you're going to play the war zones, sure, get kills. Dude, I get kills. If you guys notice, actually, just watch at the end of this particular war zone. I think I get like 40 kills in this. Like 40 kills. And I'm pursuing the objectives. As a matter of fact, this one is search and destroy attack. I'm going toward the objective, but I'm still getting kills. But see, what a lot of these Christmas noobs and these team deathmatch noobs do, they go find one area where there's a whole bunch of action, and they stay in that area and they forget about the objectives, right? Me personally, like, I pay close attention to the timer. Like, let's just say it's search and destroy defend or search and destroy attack, and let's just say there's about 30 seconds left. Well, guess what? Whatever's going to happen at that point is going to happen. Do I have to stay there to the very end? Well, it kind of depends. I mean, if I see that we're playing against an aggressive team and they keep setting off the objective, or they keep taking down the objective, you know, in the event that we're talking defend, I might stick around. But I mean, if we did a good job of defending, I mean, just think about it. They're not going to blow up the objective in the last 15 to 20 seconds, right? So why stick there? A lot of times, especially when you're playing the 24-man war zone, you could just say to yourself, okay, the attack and the defend already passed, so there's only going to be one of two left. So playing as a support, you should have a good idea as to where you're going to drop your spawn beacon, right? But Christmas noobs don't do that. All they do is look for an area to get kills, and they're done. So, to be fair, I've heard some of the Christmas noobs and the team deathmatch noobs say one of the reasons why they're kind of lost in wars, which I think are like piss poor excuses, unless you're a Christmas noob. Christmas noob, I give you the benefit of the doubt, right? But if you've been playing this game for a few weeks, like, there's no excuse. Some of the excuses that I hear these people say is, well, it's kind of hard for me to follow the missions. First off, how could it really be hard to follow any mission? There's a description in the middle of your screen, case in point, search and destroy, defend. And then there's objective markers, right? So if you simply just run to the objective markers, you'll eventually see the opposition coming and trying to attack, right? Like, it's right in front of your screen. Like, unless you're tunnel vision and you just say kills, 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 and that's the only thing you can think about, and your brain just shuts off, right? All your visuals, all your cues, unless all that shuts off, at the adrenaline rush of getting a kill, then there's no excuse. Case in point, right? I'm here at the objective. There's an A, and then there's a B. Obviously, the opposition is there attacking because we have to defend. So I've heard a lot of these Christmas noobs say, well, it's kind of hard for me to follow the objectives. I don't really know what to do. Number one, all you have to do is listen to the person's voice, right, on your factions, right? It'll tell you, like, go ahead and find the target and try to destroy it, right? And they'll even give you a timer announcement, right? So unless you're brand new, there's no excuse for not knowing what to do. Like, seriously, there's absolutely no excuse for not knowing what to do. These guys are just selfish. Which kind of brings me to a point for a lot of you guys that are experienced, because I've even done it myself, right? Sometimes I get on a team with Christmas noobs who are so bad that I just quit the war zone because I'm so frustrated, right? And mainly these are the times when I'm not on with, let's just say T-King 67. Or let's just say K Knight, right? A Big Mike, or Titan Fitness, a few of these other guys. Because 9 times out of 10, as long as I am on a team with one of those guys, we're going to win, Christmas noobs or not, right? Because they will be playing similar to the way I am. Oh, there's another guy, his name is like Animal. And that guy's got like 1,300 unlocks open at this point, and he's awesome. Almost every single time I'm on a team with that guy, like, unless our team is pure doo-doo, like, we're going to win. And these are just people that I'm familiar with. Obviously, there's times where I'm getting lucky. There's a lot of 200s and 300s on our team, yet I'm on a real experienced and aggressive team who are not team deathmatch fanatics and who understand how the objectives work, right? Which is obviously a good thing. So one piece of advice for a lot of you guys that are rather experienced and you're sick and tired of these ridiculous Christmas noobs, try not to get frustrated. Use it as an opportunity to open more unlocks, right? Because in other words, when I get to a point to where I see that my team just sucks balls, like seriously, I just work on my unlocks. I'll pull out a scout class, figure out what unlocks I need to work on, and I'll just do it, right? So at least, your win-loss ratio may go down for a lot of you who are concerned, but at least at this point, win-loss ratio is not really all that important because we don't even have clans. Now, it's kind of like a personal thing for you to look at those stats and say, look how great I am, which kind of brings me to a different subject that I'll just start talking about in the next video. But so just use it as an opportunity to work on your unlocks. Don't get frustrated with the Christmas noobs. Don't let them get on your nerves. Don't allow them to cause you to put the game down, right? Either party up with your friends or work on your unlocks. That's one thing I definitely do. I just stop myself from getting rage and I say, you know what, let me just kind of work on some of my assault class unlocks. because that way I can just go ahead and get more and more points. I mean, because I was at around, I'll say 800 to 900 for a super long time. And then all of a sudden I just say, you know what, these Christmas noobs are so bad, I just might as well start working on the unlocks. And that's why I'm almost at like 1100. I think I'm like at 1095 or something like that. So just using it as an opportunity to work on your unlocks. And actually, I've rambled so much in this video, this is pretty much the end. So hey, until next time, Marty's Brigade.